Hi everyone, I'm Katrina and today I'm going to be talking about DNF'ing books. If you're not sure what DNF means, it means did not finish. I recently posted a video talking about the books that I have DNF'd, and it kind of got me thinking about my attitude towards the whole thing, as well as like the different reasons that I have for choosing whether or not to finish a book if I'm not enjoying it. So I kind of wanted to open up this discussion and have a chat to you guys about it and see where you fall and what are your opinions about DNF'ing books. Because I've heard people really adamantly say, no, if I start a book, I will finish it. And on the other end of the scale, there's people who are like, I give it like 50 pages. If I don't love it, I close it and get rid of it. So for me, I have two different attitudes towards DNF'ing books. And that divide comes from whether or not I read a book for pleasure or whether I'm reading it for school. As long as I can remember, reading books that I'm studying in school, 90% of the time, I will not finish them. I mean, even if I'm enjoying the book, just if you give me a deadline, my brain just does not cooperate. I will not finish that book. I don't even know. To Kill a Mockingbird, for example, I probably got to the last 50 pages of the book and just never ended finishing it. And then I read it last year, absolutely loved it. So I can't really give you a reason behind this phenomenon. It just force me to read a book and I won't do it. But leisure reading, for example, is an entirely different thing. I used to have the attitude of I will always finish a book. And I think that I always wanted to finish a book even if I was hating it because it was unsatisfying not completing a story. I just wanted to read the entire thing and be able to make a full judgment of the book on it as a whole rather than the portion that I had read. I also think that in a lot of cases I was just holding on to that hope that the book would turn around and the ending would just make up for the crap at the beginning, you know? And I think in a lot of cases it didn't do that. So eventually I didn't have any hope and I started DNF'ing books. When I was reading a book that I didn't enjoy, I wasn't questioning whether I was going to finish it or not. I was just kind of like thinking in my head, ugh, this sucks, I just can't wait for it to be over. I didn't really question whether or not I wanted to give up on it, at least not frequently. Like there probably was a few times where I did think this, but for the most part, I don't really recall having that battle in my head until a few years ago when I read a book called You. 50 pages in, I was like, am I going to make it through this? I don't think I can do it. I think I'm going to give up. That was one of the first books outside of my school readings that I actively decided to not finish a book. It was really scary. I'll admit it. I didn't want to DNF the book, but at the same time, I was just struggling so much with it. It really wasn't my type of book, and I was not enjoying it in the slightest. I had to make that decision and be like, you know what? This is it. Nowadays, when I think of DNF'ing books, I don't think of it as giving up anymore. I think that those words, giving up, just really connote this idea of failure to me, like I'm failing in my reading of this book. But I've kind of gotten past that stage and it's more like a really active decision that no, I'm not enjoying this one. I'm not going to waste my time reading it for any longer when I could be reading something else. In saying that though, I haven't DNF'd a lot of books since then because I was disliking them. There's a few cases where I've not finished a book because I kind of fell into a reading slump and it just wasn't the right time, or some other circumstances happened and I wasn't able to finish the book, but I still want to finish reading those books. That's a whole other situation. In terms of reading a book that I don't like and DNF'ing it, it hasn't happened very often. It's not that I haven't read bad books, but just one instance in particular, which I read and reviewed on my channel, and the reason why I continued reading that book when I was really not enjoying it is because I decided that I wanted to review that book. From the very beginning, I had a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts about it, and I wanted to talk about it and review the book. I don't know why I was so adamant on doing that, but I wanted to finish the book so I could get a whole picture of the book and review it as a whole rather than just the part. In saying that though, I'm not against people reviewing books that they only partially read. I think that's totally fine. If you didn't finish a book for whatever reason, you've still formed a very valid opinion of the book, and I think it's really important to share because there was obviously something about the book that prompted you to not finish it. So it's not that I'm against reviews of partially read books, but I just felt the need to do it with this book, and I don't know why. I can't pinpoint it. Maybe I was just kind of enjoying hate reading the book. So I think that at this point in time, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not exactly sure where, just somewhere floating about in there. Because if I start a book, I don't feel like I absolutely have to finish it. I just have so many books that I own that I haven't read that I don't really want to waste too much time on books that I'm not loving if I could be spending that time getting through all of the other books on my TBR in the hopes that I will enjoy those ones. But I also don't have a rule in which I'll give a book a chance for only a certain amount of pages or so before giving up on it, which I think is pretty evident in the fact that I don't DNF books all the time, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. Ultimately, it probably depends on the book itself and the situation around reading the book that I would make a decision on whether or not to continue reading it or to not continue reading it. For example, with the book that I wanted to review, the book as a whole, I made the decision to read the whole book. I could have easily made the decision to not finish it, but with that particular book, I just felt like finishing it. I don't have any really concrete thoughts on the matter, but I just kind of wanted to see what you guys do when it comes to books that you aren't enjoying. How do you make that decision to finish it or to not finish it? I'm really curious because everyone has different opinions, everyone has different reading habits, so I'd like to see what you guys do. Do you have any particular rules? Are there like certain themes or certain topics that are a definite no-go, and if they pop up you will not continue reading that book? Let's chat about it. Love to hear your thoughts. So I think that's pretty much all that I have to say. It wasn't very cohesive. I just kind of brain dumped everything, and at the end of this video I still don't know. I haven't made a decision on where I stand on everything, but it's still really interesting to me, so I want to hear what you guys think. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow in a new video, but until then I will talk to you in the comments. Bye!